Welcome to Bay Focus. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am so excited about today's show. You know, over the years, if you've been a long time watcher of Bay Focus, and we have been doing this program unbelievably for 25 years, and I've been honored to host it for the duration of that time. And one of my favorite ministries, honestly, is Hope Children's Home in Tampa. What they do to bring children in need of a home from not only our area, but all over the country, and they're even international as well, is just amazing and so moving. And get ready to just be inspired and challenged, and maybe a Kleenex here and there, a feel-good story, because we've got one today for you. Wonderful young people have come on the show, but we're going to devote the entire show to Hope Children's Home. And to do that today, we have some special guests. And we have the Executive Director of Hope Children's Home, Matt Higgins, back with us. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
It's been a few years. Yeah. And you took the reins how many years ago now?
So it was January of last year. So
of last year to be Executive Director. Yeah. For many years, we had your dad come on, Dr. Mike Higgins, and you came with him.
I have,
at times. And but to have you helming things now is such an honor, and I know you feel the same way, and you brought with you a couple of young adults, young adults, because you're not children anymore, that are going to tell your story in just a moment. Olivia is with us, and Greg. Welcome, guys, and welcome back. Yeah. Well, Greg has been here before, but you're brand new to us, Olivia. But you guys have a story together, okay? So we're going to tell that in just a moment. But before we do, Matt, I know we have some viewers that may just not know what is Hope Children's Home, where you're located. Yeah. Give us the background.
Okay. So Hope was founded in 1968, so this is 57 years now. We've been rescuing children from desperate and needy situations, and our mission statement is this: it's to love children in need and to equip them for the future. And I love that, because there's so many children out there that are in need from desperate situations, and our mission statement, I like to say it this way, is really held up by our 4 pillars, 4 ways that we carry out our mission. And the first one is to meet their physical needs. And so you can imagine, as we have 3 campuses, international, as you mentioned as well, we care for about 100 children at any given time. Just imagine the amount of physical things it takes to care for them, food and clothing and shelter and all that. And I have 2 teenage boys at home, and I know how they eat. And it takes a lot. And so we meet their physical needs, but secondly, we provide them with a loving family environment. And that's so important, because many of our young people come from homes where they've never had a mom and a dad that really demonstrate what it means to be a loving family. And so in every way possible, we do that. And then the third pillar is we provide an excellent Christian education. And so we know, apart from the things of the Lord, the most important thing that we can give these young people is a quality education, specifically from a Christian perspective. And then the last thing is the most important. It's that we want to point each child, each teenager, to a personal and genuine relationship with Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and you do all of the above. And we took our cameras years ago to your campus. Your campus, tell us a little bit about the campus, because you actually is in Tampa.
Right.
And not only is your school there, but you have these cottages of hope.
Yeah.
And you have a variety of living setup, but these cottages are like a home.
Yeah, they're beautiful homes. God's just tremendously blessed us, these homes. But yeah, that's part of our mission is to have these homes, a small environment. We have a set of house parents or cottage parents that lives and just emulates that family. But we try to raise these children just the way I was fortunate enough to be raised in a good home, and try to do all the same things that your viewers do as well as a family.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. Another aspect to what you do that's just so cool. We've done so many interviews here and featured taking our cameras as well to cover events. We're very pro-life on Bay Focus, and CTN is. Yeah. And you do something called Bundles of Hope Saving Babies.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So that's exciting.
Providing homes for these babies.
So this is a new ministry initiative. We've launched it, and we're right in the precipice of groundbreaking within the next few weeks to build these homes specifically for babies. And the vision of that, real quickly, is for these ladies that find themselves in a crisis or an unplanned pregnancy, and they're looking for options. What do I do? and specifically ones that are contemplating an abortion. And we want to go in and we want to offer these mothers just another choice, another option, and to be able to care for, if they would just simply choose life, we'll come in even from day one, and we'll care for that baby, and we'll do the same things that we've been doing at the Children's Home for 57 years. We'll love and care and provide all the needs, but it gives the mom the gift of time for her to be able to figure out whatever it is in life that was preventing her, or at least putting her to the point where she was contemplating an abortion, gives her time to be able to fix that. And so our goal is for the mom to be able to come back,
Be reunited,
and to reunite with that baby a year down the road or whatever it takes. And so that's,
and you've already done a few of those, so
we have.
that is amazing. All right, I wanted to cover that ground, and just to mention, you can go to their website, which we show throughout this show, and also see how they're in Honduras and all the different places that they are and what they're doing. And stay tuned, because we're going to have an important announcement in a little bit. But I want to get to Greg and Olivia, and because they're going to tell a little bit of their story right now. We're going to do it via video, and then we're going to get caught up with them on what's going on right now. But let's take a look at Greg and Olivia's story.
It wasn't until I got into the woods and got into that moment that I realized, hey, Gregory right now, he is all I had. When I was 8, our mom, she lost her job, and so we soon ended up losing our home and just different boyfriends in and out of our lives, not really making a difference. So because of that, we ended up losing our home and stayed with several friends. A family member ended up living in a homeless shelter, and then we ended up living in the woods for about 6 months. Some of the struggles of living in the woods, I say our biggest struggle was school, because the sun would end up going down at the end of the day, and we'd have all these projects and different homework and tasks to complete, but we weren't able to do them because it would get dark easy, or we just weren't focused on that. We were more focused on our living situation.
I was little and I didn't really understand everything at the moment, so I was just kind of like, chilling, just a little kid thinking that we went camping or something. But then whenever I came in the home, after being in the woods for so long, I kind of realized what had happened, and I was just thankful that I was brought out of it, and just thankful that I was given the good mother who didn't give up on us, and I just didn't give up on herself.
While being in the home, we've just been surrounded by people who love us and care for us and just are willing to make a difference in our life.
Since being at Hope, I built a lot of relationships with a lot of people, many house parents that I look to as adult figures. It's just really nice being able to create those relationships.
And I'm just very thankful that Hope allows my brother and I to live together, and live on the same property, and to see each other grow spiritually, mentally, physically, and be there along each step of the way.
Family is the ones that are around you, and it's not necessarily blood related, but it's just the ones that are always there for you.
Just the people who work here, or the different kids that live here, just showing that love whenever we first came in. Even though we were from a hard situation and we didn't always see the love of God through people, or just love in general, it was really cool to come to Hope and see how many people love for you and gone through similar situations and just can relate to you.
Just being at Hope, they've really pushed me to go beyond my limits, and just be able to strive and do better.
It wasn't until I got into the woods and got into that moment that I realized, hey, Gregory right now, he is all I had. But then coming to Hope after and seeing all I've gone through, especially being here for 5 years, I realized God was in the midst of that. And out of all the situations he could have picked, he chose us to bring us out of that situation and bring us here. So just know God's in the midst of everything, and he's got control of your life, and he's not going to let you go through it alone.
Well, I know that touched your heart. Wow, the story of Greg and Olivia, and they are here with us today. And there have been a few changes since you even recorded that. Olivia, update us on what you're doing.
Well, I'm currently going into my senior year at Pensacola Christian College. I'm studying graphic design, and I'm home for the summer, which is exciting because I get to intern on the media and marketing team and help out there, and it's just been really good. I'm thankful for Hope and everything they've done for me, so I'm able to come to this point in my life
Well, you know, and I like that you're using the term home, because even though you're off to college,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is still home. And that's one of the things I love about Hope Children's Home, that when children get older and they become adults, they send them off to college, they still come back as their home. But Greg, you've had a big moment this year. This is the
ma'am.
big high school graduation year, right?
Yes, ma'am, I have. At the end of May, I just graduated.
Yeah, and what is your plan?
In August, I'm going to be going to Hillsborough Community College to study my associates in computer science.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, and I want you both to give us, and I know I'm going to start with you, Greg. We heard a little bit from Olivia here. And you know, we saw the video and we talked about your story, but what would you say that there's been the biggest impact that you've had, and where you are right now too, and what you're trying to do even at Hope? I'm sure you're probably interacting with some of the other residents.
Well, Hope is family.
Yeah.
There's a part of the video where we're sharing or we're looking at photos, and those are family photos because Hope is our family, and those are the people who are closest to us and helping us through life and helping guide us through college and through graduating and things like that. And I mean, I don't have anybody else who's closer, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and Olivia, I know one of the things with your plan or whatever too, I believe you want to come back. See, this is a story of hope over the years that these young people leave, but some come back and want to stay involved. What are your thoughts on that?
So my thoughts are, after I graduate college this next year, I'm hoping to come back and join on staff and just be part of the media and marketing team and help out where I can. It's really cool just to see a first full circle moment with where God had us and where God is planning to take me. So through prayer and wisdom, I just feel like that's the right decision.
I have a question you can both kind of respond to, whatever. You obviously are now the kind of leaders. You know, there's a lot of children under you in age there, whatever. But I think sometimes peer input, from people that have walked through, have gone through everything. What are you able to share with some of these other kids that you interact with and the children that are there and that are walking through it? What, and for lack of a better word, what helped you? What tips, what things helped you adjust? There has to be some of these children coming. It has to be tough at first. Do you have a heart for these? Can you spot them? Those that are maybe struggling a little bit?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I think it's just easy to relate to the kids because, we've been through similar things and everyone's story is different, but, there's still hurt and there's still pain through it all.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just easy to relate with them and tell them, we've been through the similar things, but we've come through it with God's help and with love and support from everyone at Hope, whether it's staff, kids, family, you're able to get through these trials and God will help you get through it as long as you lean on
Greg,
Him.
that's one.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Greg, I don't know if you want to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, like with graduating, I think it's cool. When I was younger, I used to look up to the older kids and see that they're making it out and they're making it happen and they're having a life. So it's cool to have that perspective of looking up to others like that.
Yeah, what I think too is that, Matt, is the confidence these children have that you're with them for the long haul.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? I mean, you don't just now, and we don't have, this is a loaded question, we don't have a lot of time to get to it, but you are for putting families back together, but that does not always
Doesn't always happen. Yeah, it is our goal, but in cases where it's not possible, we just step in and be that family, whether they're 18, 19, 20, 25, whatever. We just had one of our young people get married this past weekend, and we love that. We love to be that family for them.
I love that. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, there is going to be a special announcement on some things that are happening at Hope Children's Home. Very, very cool, very, very exciting. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a moment.
We want to hear from you. Is there an event happening in the Tampa Bay area or an organization helping the local community? If you have answers, let us know. Email us at darleneg@ctnonline.com. Find us online at ctnonline.com/BayFocus or follow us on Facebook at BayFocus TV.
What if every region within the state of Florida had a home where hurting children could find healing and hope through Christ-centered care? Since 1968, that's exactly what Hope Children's Home has been doing. But you see, recently, God has called us to not just add to our ministry, but to multiply our ministry through an aggressive growth model that He's given to us. So I'm excited to share that within the next 5 years, our goal is to have 8 locations all throughout the state of Florida. You might say, how are we going to accomplish that? Well, here's the key. We're going to begin strategic partnerships with local churches all throughout the state of Florida. So when we partner with that church and with that pastor in that local community, we'll open up a location there. We will be able to share the financial responsibilities with that church, but in large part, the church will be responsible for the daily operations of that location. Our Tampa campus will remain the heartbeat of our ministry. It'll be where we'll train staff for future locations, as well as just be support for all of the locations throughout the state of Florida. So as we expand and as we grow and multiply in our ministry, would you consider supporting our ministry and certainly remembering to pray for us as we move into this future? I'm inviting you and your church and your family to come alongside us as we grow into this new future. Let's bring hope to every corner throughout the state.
Well, now that is some exciting news. And Matt, I want you to give us more details. Wow, congratulations. Start with what a vision.
Thank you.
For expansion. Yeah. Oh my goodness, around the state of Florida. I think it's amazing, the vision that you have. But that leads to my first question for you to talk a little bit more about this.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you're just expanding in Florida and no other states?
Yeah, so here's the thing. Obviously, I love Florida,
yeah.
But Florida has legislative protections for residential facilities like ours to be able to operate specifically with the components of faith and religion. So the state is very hands-off on those things. And so now there's other states out there that have religious exemptions through their state licensing system, but at the end of the day, those are all through like administrative code and can be changed by one person that decides to change it. Here in Florida, if those protections that we have for faith are to be taken away from us, those would have to be just as a bill becomes a law, House, Senate, signed off by the governor himself. And so that's one big reason. And then we just have a great base throughout the state of Florida. And I know there's a lot of need here as well, and we're just eager to meet that need.
Yeah, that's a really valid point about, Florida's friendly to faith-based.
Sure. Yeah.
Situations. We live in a great state for that. Okay, but all right. So if you're doing these expansion in Florida, can kids come from other parts of the country still?
Certainly, yeah. And so that's been our model from the beginning, and we have children from many, many different states. That won't change. That'll still be the same, but our locations will just be based in Florida. Okay.
Well, the undertaking that this is. You obviously can't do this alone.
Right, right.
Hope Children's Home can't do it alone. What's the plan on partnerships with this?
Sure.
Explain that a little bit more.
Yeah, that's the part I'm so excited about because our model to this point of growth has been to purchase property, build buildings, and then to staff and operationally be in charge of it all. And it's a lot. And my personality is I always want to do things bigger and better. And so as it relates to the kingdom, it's like, how do we reach more children bigger and better ways using the same resources that God's given to us? So when we can partner with these local churches, now the church can have a financial responsibility with us. Maybe they have a parsonage. Maybe they want to purchase a property. So then they can operate it. And at the end of the day, that pastor, that church in their community is going to know their community better than we do, maybe here in Hillsborough County or in Tampa. And so as we partner with these churches, they'll operationally underneath our standards and guidelines, and we'll make sure that everything's done properly and in order, and we'll inspect them. But we can kind of share that responsibility now. So now we have a model that's more scalable. We can reach more children in different places. At the end of the day, we'll be able to reach more children for Christ, and that's ultimately what it's all about.
Yeah, the idea of partnerships and working together on it is just such a huge component to this. You know, what do they say? You lack of a better term, when you get skin in the game.
That's right.
You know,
I think it's exactly right.
They have a say in what happens and how this happens. You have an ambitious plan.
I do.
We're talking this, like what, every one a year, or how are you?
So our goal is to have 8 new locations in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
And so God's given us that vision, but I'm confident that He'll carry it out. And it's going to take the staff at the children's home, but it's going to take supporters, viewers, whoever can come alongside of us and help us to get across that finish line to do what God's called us to do.
Which gives me my next question for you. What are the ways that our viewers and organizations that could be represented in watching can come alongside you? What can they do?
Well, first of all, and I know it can be cliche, but remember to pray for us. Like this is a big deal, and we're talking about children's lives, and there's a lot. And so pray for us that God would just continue to give us wisdom, that we would see this goal met. But then financial support as well as we continue to move into new locations. Our goal is to continue to help these churches and these partnerships financially as well. And so partnering with us financially, those are the two big things that I think as we move forward that's going to be absolutely critical.
And can they do that if they want to do a donation or set up a regular, regularly come in? I mean, I bet you guys would like to be part of church missions budgets.
Sure, for sure, yeah.
You know, home missions, and you do the international in Honduras. So could do that. So they can go through the website on that?
HopeChildren'sHome.org, and there's ways to donate right there.
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I wanted to say too, in our final moments here, I'll paint a picture for our viewers of who these children are that come. We've talked about reunification. We've talked about some difficult situations. We saw Olivia and Greg's story, their story. Yeah. But you have a variety of story. Are these kids coming from abusive homes? Are they being referred to by the courts? Where are they coming from?
That's a great question. I always say it this way. I say we care for good kids that come from bad situations.
That's a good way to put it.
So their parents typically have made poor choices, and we deal a lot with addictions, drugs, alcohol. We deal with parents that are incarcerated. Then we have parents that love their children. Greg and Olivia's mom loves them, but she just financially couldn't provide. So from really desperate, needy situations on all ends of the spectrum.
And then is there an average duration of time that they stay?
I would say the average is probably 18 months to 2 years would be average. Some longer than others, like Greg and Olivia have been with us for 9 years. I would say maybe 1.5 to 2 years.
And Matt, I want to ask you this. How long have you been, but you yourself, working with the children's home?
So next week will be 21 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
21 years.
Yeah.
If there's something that you could share, and then we'll wrap this up, what has been the highlight for you? I like to personalize it. You are overseeing. This is you have stepped in, number one, big shoes to fill.
Sure, yeah.
You know, though your mom and dad are still, there to help as needed, but you've taken the reins.
Right.
And what motivates you?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Obviously we're in this to see lives changed. And so when I see any evidences of that, specifically for me, I love getting those texts from kids that have now adults, have their own family. Randomly at Father's Day was just recently, and I had several of the kids text me and say, Happy Father's Day, love you, thank you for the impact in my life. And to me, that's like what gets me up and keeps me going, to know if it's just one or two or a couple or many, that their lives are changed forever and then for eternity. That's huge for me. Yeah.
Well, that's a wonderful note to end on. And I want to thank you, Matt, for coming, and also Olivia. Thank you so much for coming, and Greg.
Yeah.
You guys still, brother and sister, still like each other and everything through all of this.
On a good day.
You know, you're out there, you know, living together. But although I have to say, when you're going off to college and stuff too, that I remember that even made me miss my siblings more so, you know, when you're off doing that. So, but you guys are such great examples of God rescuing you, keeping you together as a family and all of that. So thank you all for coming on today and sharing.
Thank you for having us.
Wonderful to have you. And thank you for tuning in today. You know, like I said earlier in the show, if you've been here for the show for the duration, we have featured Hope Children's Home for many, many years, but it has been a few years now. And to see how the expansion and everything they're doing, the lives they're changing, what they're doing to make a difference in these children's lives is so huge. I want to encourage you to contact them, but I think they can go, if they wanted to contact you, and see the campus.
Sure.
And tour the campus. And wow, it is so beautiful in the Tampa campus. What they're doing in Honduras, everything is just amazing, and what they've all done. So I want to encourage you to check them out, particularly if you're a minister or a church watching represent a church. This will be a great ministry organization to partner with. And I want to thank you for watching Bay Focus. I want to hear from you. You can see on the screen how you can contact me. Contact us here at Bay Focus. We want to hear from you. You know, one of the things we do too, if you watch us on a week-to-week basis, we get out in the community. We take our cameras out there. Our reporter for the show, Elise Nicole, goes out and does a variety of stories. So we want to hear what's happening too, and events and local ministries and what's going on. So please contact us. I want to wish you a very, very blessed week ahead, and we will see you next week on Bay Focus. Go get some more coffee. God bless.
For over 20 years, Bay Focus has taken you behind the scenes of Central Florida ministries, community organizations, and local events. Join host Darlene Greenlee as she talks to local leaders about how Christians can express faith in action in their communities. Tune in on Wednesdays and Thursdays on CTN Greater Tampa Bay, or watch on demand at ctnonline.com/bayfocus.